So this might be the simplest house I have ever seen, and I'd like to take you for a tour. So let's have a quick look. This is it here. It's called Southwest House. It's in Thailand, and it's this one here. It stands out, right? This white box in the midst of all these other sort of more traditional houses. And you can see right away that it's a very simple house, especially from an image like this. It's literally just a white box with a couple holes punched into it. It's got this kind of curving wall here, which is sort of the one really interesting element. We'll look at the plan in just a moment, but let's take a look. Here's a view from the courtyard. Again, super simple. Like, even in terms of the floor plan, it's simple, but then the interior is stark, right? It's one of those ultra modern white boxes where, you know, there's no coat hooks, there's no benches, there's no closets. Like, where are you gonna hang your clothes at the end of the day? This is your little step. Looks kind of cool. Is it functional? Yeah, it's not bad, I guess. It fits with the aesthetic in that, you know, you have a step here that's really not even part of the house. It becomes more landscape. But again, not even a door. We have this opening. In terms of like North American homes, you would never see this, right? There'd be a door in here. Maybe you'd have a window or something, but like, you don't see just these holes punched into exterior walls like that with no real door or threshold, or sort of security even, for that matter. What else do we got? So this is that same courtyard. We're looking at the end, and you start to get a sense of the interior too, and what's happening. Again, pretty stark and simple. This room here, like, not even really any furniture. This is, I think, called a prayer room. So it's a religious room, and I guess it's, you know, you're praying, you're doing your ceremonies. I'm not sure what the religion is for this, the owner of this house, but it's definitely something that just requires some simplicity. There's not a lot of extraneous materials or just anything. Like, these walls, right? There's nothing on them. This is the one kind of interesting move in the house, is this curved wall, right? It starts to curve around this way. Again, you have this opening here where we don't really have any kind of a door. There's no real security threshold. There's nothing like that. You're in the house, you're out of the house, and you're really blurring that line a little bit between inside and outside by removing those doors and those windows and those things. And here's a really cool photo of the exterior. And you can see there's someone up on the roof there, which is kind of cool. There's not a lot happening on the roof. We'll see that in a second. But this is that curved wall that's pretty interesting looking, and it looks beautiful at night. It's kind of this little white lantern that's glowing. And I should mention, this is by a firm called Tantai Architects. I'll link to them in the description down below, but if you're curious, architects, forget the C. So check them out. They're based in Thailand. Again, we'll get back to that plan in a second, but I just want to look through some of these images and just how stark and how kind of bare this house is. And here's a very general sort of diagram showing you how this plan is working. It's one level. You can access the roof. We'll look at that, but you have the kitchen, you have one bedroom, one bathroom, the prayer room, and the multi-purpose room. And that's literally it. The big one we were looking at before with the glass wall, actually, it might have been the multi-purpose room and not the prayer room, now that I'm looking at the plan here. And you have this kind of courtyard space that's slicing through both of these things, so we kind of have two volumes, right? I guess you could almost call it a private and a public space, in terms of their function. If you're going to have people over, guests and things like that, they're going to be in this space here, this multi-purpose room. And then everything in this sort of zone here, you got the kitchen, the bedroom, the washroom, the prayer room. This is definitely the more private side, right? So you can tell the architect has kind of divided this house by function and those two sort of main programs. And now what they did was they linked all this together, not only with this little courtyard in the middle, but there's this long corridor, right, that runs along here. And here's a good diagram of that. They basically access everything through this path here, and then you put a wall on it. This is the southern exposure. I think this is getting a lot of sun this direction, and it's obviously hot in Thailand. So this is kind of a passive cooling technique. Very simple. It doesn't really cost a lot of money. I imagine that this house doesn't really have a lot of insulation or cooling. And this could just be basically like an AC and heat-free home. That's my sort of initial take looking at this thing. And then they just folded this one section of wall to the interior. You can see here's the stairs leading up to the roof, and that's kind of it. It's super simple, right? So this is that cool folding wall. There are some things like this project definitely won some awards recently. It's got some great photography and some really nice images, but I don't know how functional it is. But one thing I just want to point out is you have this beautiful, well executed house, but there's little things like there's floor stain kind of creeping up the wall here. It looks like the paint job around this wall is just not super clean. There's just some things in this house that would really bug me when you have this really austere white box, but the paint job isn't very good. Like just those little tiny details like this. You can see there's floor stain on the white wall. Oh man, that would drive me nuts. Anyway, that's just me. But so we sort of looked at the photos. Again, there's not a lot happening on the interior, right? This is a pretty simple house. There's not much happening, and it really is reflected in the plan too. And let's take a closer look at that. So again, we have the kitchen. In this area here, you can see the counter and whatnot. And it's not meant to be an open kitchen by any means. This is super functional. You know, you're standing here, you're doing your work along this sort of galley kitchen, and right next to that, you have your bedroom, washroom. This is your prayer room that we talked about earlier, and so this is linked with this the corridor actually on the upper side here. This is your courtyard, and then this is kind of like your living room. And that's it. There's nothing else going on in this house. It's that one story. I don't think there's a basement. You can access the roof, although there's nothing up there, so I don't know why you would want to. Maybe you're laying out here getting a suntan. I don't know. But you can come up there. Again, not much happening. There's no decoration. There's nothing extra in this house. It's just the bare minimum, like stripped down to what do we actually need to survive. It's not more than that. It's not a luxury home. This would have been a pretty cost-effective home to build, just because, again, I don't think there's heating. I don't think there's cooling. They're protecting themselves from this hot southern sun with this wall right here that's blocking all that sun, but letting a little bit in, and it's just that one move. One little curved wall is what makes this house interesting. If there wasn't this wall, it would just be a white box. It'd be a little too simple. Even honestly, as far as I'm concerned, it's probably a little too simple as it is. Like I don't think this would work in a North American context. Like they don't have any stuff. There's not even a single closet in this house, right? Like this is your bedroom. And I guess you have, I don't know, maybe your bed's on this wall here, right? Your headboard, you're coming out this way. And then maybe you have a dresser on this side. And then this is a window, so you're not going to have a dresser there. And that's kind of it. You don't even have a closet. There is some storage, I should point out, under the stairs when you access this through the prayer room. But it's not, I don't know. I don't think this would work in North America. It would certainly take a certain type of person. So I just thought it was a kind of a fun, interesting project. It's a custom home, but it's a super simple custom home, I should say. Not a lot of extra anything. This is bare minimum. I don't know. What do you think this would cost to build? I don't really know. In a Thai context, it's tough to say. Like in North America, this would be incredibly cheap. You would have to do some different stuff. Like you would have to insulate the walls and the roof, or have some cooling, depending where it is. If it's south or if it's north, you'd have to deal with a few things. This probably gets a lot of rain, so I'm sure it deals with that. But that's kind of all it's doing. You come home. You go to bed, you cook some dinner, you wake up in the morning, do your prayers, I guess, and carry on with your day. You're definitely not working from home in this place. There's no desk, there's nothing. So what do you think? Would you live here? I don't know. I don't think I would. It might be cool to visit for a weekend or something, but that's probably enough for me. So again, that's Tantai Architects, and this is the Southwest home in Thailand. Check it out. I'll link to it down below, and stay tuned for more architecture videos. We'll see you in the next one, and thank you for watching.